Hello, my beautiful rainbow people. Welcome back to the Pot Smokers Bible Channel's program, The Controversy of Zion. Hi, my name is Zion, and if I am not pissing you off, shocking the hell out of you, scaring the hell out of you, or making you giggle and laugh with glee, I'm not doing my job right. Hello, my name is Zion. I am the Zion of the Most High God of Israel, the prophet foretold in the 54th chapter of the book of Isaiah. And I have come to set my people free. In today's episode, which is designed to shock and awe you, is called The Prophetic Death of George Floyd. And I'm going to explain to you in detail how George Floyd died in a prophetic way, at a prophetic time, and how his death resulted in prophetic events, which are still playing out as I speak. So let me begin. Now, the prophecy of Israel has always been a mystery until now. Now, the prophecy says that no one would understand it until the end times, but at the end times it would be understood plainly. And as you'll see, it's very plain and clear that George Floyd was a prophetic person and that his death was prophetic and the events that followed his death were prophetic. So let me lay it out to you. We'll begin with the very first actualization of a prophetic event, which occurred on May 25th, 2015. On that day, I established myself in a court of law in York, Nebraska, as the Zion of the Most High God of Israel, the foretold prophet from the 54th chapter of the book of Isaiah, and I did so in accordance with prophecy by being in court for a drug-related case and going to prison for that case. But before I went to prison, the basest of men, Donald Trump, announced his candidacy for president a month following my court appearance. Now, then I went to prison, just as Jeremiah predicted, that the apple of God's eye would go to prison. When I got out of prison, as was prophesied, I wrote the Pot Smokers Bible, which was completed in February of 2020. On April 20th of 2020, I began to publish Peace. And exactly 1 month later, on the very anniversary of my declaration of being Zion, our beloved George Floyd was martyred in the cause of our people in a prophetic way. Because you see, I finished the book. COVID-19 struck, the consumption decree. And then everyone around the world scurried to their little home nations, infecting everybody with COVID. The consumption decree, which would send everybody home, empty the streets, and force people to cast out their dead in silence, as was exemplified in Italy. And then, on the 6th anniversary of my establishing myself as the Zion of the Most High God of Israel, George Floyd was killed by a policeman fitting the description of Daniel's policeman in array against the people of Zion. Killed George Floyd by grinding his face into the pavement for 9 minutes and 29 seconds or whatever it was. And there is a prophetic verse that says in Isaiah 3, how dare you grind the faces of the poor? The next prophetic verse states that righteousness, the uprising of Black Lives Matter, occurs because the consumption decree overflows with righteousness, means that the righteousness comes up and out and overflows, overtakes the COVID, and proliferates from there, which is exactly what Black Lives Matter is. Now, there is a verse that states that the future king of the nation of Zion does not go into the streets. He is not seen. He is not heard. Which indicates that my beautiful rainbow people take to the streets, where the policemen are lined up in array against them, and the confrontation which leads to the birth of the nation of Zion begins. Black Lives Matter versus the police, the corporate police state. And that, my friends, is where we are right now. COVID-19 has been overflowed with the righteousness of the protests in response to George Floyd's prophetic death of suffocation by having his face ground into the street. So yes, my beautiful rainbow people, you are justified. You are the righteous. And George Floyd died as a martyr, the martyr in the cause of Zion. And God is incensed with the American nation. He is livid, angry beyond angry at the death of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and every other beautiful black person who has been killed by the atrocities of those evil, diabolical men in uniforms with badges and batons, utility belts, and shields. The very idea that defunding the police, no. The police are evil. There is not a good policeman to be had because the entire concept of police is an evil institution instituted by an evil nation that is hypocritical, that proclaims peace and wages war, that exemplifies freedom and oppresses the poor. No more. The next set of events that is set to occur, and I cannot tell you the proper order that they will occur in. I can only tell you what is coming. But I can tell you probably Trump's fall will probably be the next event because it is happening as we speak. Because that base and immoral man who loses power and has corrupted America so much that is split into two factions and is doomed falls from grace. He becomes a laughing stock as everybody looks upon him and says, were you really the one that we fell for? Were you really the one that we fell for? Where are you now? You're in a pit and a hole. And the pit and the hole is God's way of saying prison. So Trump is going to prison. And I just love watching that happen. And then the controversy of Zion happens. I happen. The controversy of Zion is said to take a year to play out. as everything that I foretold in my book has already been playing out in real time. Like a dominoes falling from the moment I finished that book. Bam! All those dominoes just started to fall. And George Floyd's death was one of those events, one of those dominoes that dooms America to destruction and causes the righteous people of this nation, the poor, the widowed single-parent household, the children without fathers and the orphans, and the immigrants, the strangers. These four, oh, and let's not forget the main attraction, the drug users. So, if you use drugs, if you are poor, if you are a single parent, if you are a child without two parents in your household, or if you are an immigrant from any place on earth, you are the righteous citizen, future citizens of the nation of Zion, which is created as a direct result of prophetic events, one of which is the death of George Floyd. Now, I become the next big controversy. Everything that I say, am saying, have done, and am doing causes everything, morally speaking, in our society to flip upside down. Because according to the prophecy of the Old Testament, of the King James Version of the Bible, George Floyd's death was prophetic. Police are evil. The United States of America is doomed because it is a hypocritical nation. And we will soon recreate the Exodus. Because the controversy of Zion is my rise to power, my ascension into Zion, where I prove through my unpublished manuscript, the Potsmoker's Bible and Book of Zion, that every event from 2015 to today was prophetic, and that the next event to be staged in prophecy is that I will stand up to champion the cause of the drug users, the poor, and the oppressed against the hypocritical nation of America, a great northern nation brought about from the sides of the earth, the melting pot. And I will stand up to the authorities, just as Moses stood up to the Pharaoh. And I will force them to try to justify themselves. And in so doing, I will undermine everything that they do. Because as of the prophecy of Israel, as for judgment, Christians are idol worshippers. The GOP is an evil cabal of pedophiles who do terrible things to children in the name of Satan. Q is a joke. Pot smokers are the elite telepathic priesthood who will soon call upon the God of the earth, the Grey, who will come to our rescue and set us free. So join me. May the Grey watch over you, guide you, protect you, and keep you from harm. May they teach you right from wrong, and may you be worthy of them. May your thoughts, words, and deeds reflect truth, good, and light, the unicorn way. Find your joy and pursue it, and make that your guild choice when we get to Camp Zion, our Exodus. Stay Stay happy and high. If you use drugs, you have every right and reason to. Believe me, I know. I wrote 2 books about it. I am Zion of the Most High God of Israel, the prophet of the 54th chapter of the book of Isaiah. I've come to set my people free. I'm going to say later now, because I never say goodbye.